lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast that prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's #1 lycanthrope, Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf, aka the Shaggy One, aka Russell Jackson, aka the Demon of Wundagore. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, listeners. We are joined by an esteemed guest. We have now completed our hat trick of having Marvel by the Month members on. Welcome, Jamie.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure and truly an honor. I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Yeah, we're big fans. I've listened to Marvel by the Month for a really long time. So I remember your first guest appearance, and you were kind of neck and neck with Joe Keating for the most appearances for a while.
Yeah, I gave him a run for his money.
You gave him a run for his money for a while, but then you made the jump from frequent guest to co-host. So how did that whole thing work?
Oh man, I mean, I think there was something about the amount that I was visually sweating with all my guest appearances that really appealed to them. They really liked a sweaty, oily, gross
Let's lock
co-host.
that in.
Yeah, exactly. So they wanted to kind of
put a ring on it.
I met. Rob's probably told the story. We met at a party and talked about X-Men until everybody else left the room. I must have tied one on because my memories of that are real fuzzy, and I often in public will pull back my comic enthusiasm.
Smart.
Yeah, but I guess in this case, the beer must have been flowing freely. So yeah, and they had me on, and I totally love doing it. They're so smart and interesting, and I really thought I was a big fish in the having read comics world, and meeting them was just such. And I was like, oh, I've read nothing. Like I like I shouldn't even be part of this conversation.
Well, Brian and the Baxter Annex where you guys record is quite foreboding. There are more. I think Matt, when we went and recorded there, I think Matt was just like, well, I think you have more, collecteds and trade paperbacks than Excalibur does.
Yeah. It's like a legitimate archive. I mean,
it is.
It needs like government funding somehow. I don't know exactly what for, but I feel like they should be footing the bill for that.
Yeah, so you guys have gotten so many amazing guests, like just every creator that you really could. And who was the guest that you were most nervous with?
Oh my God. I mean, I almost blacked out at the Chelsea Kane situation. I am such a huge fan of hers. I've read all her, well, that's not fair. I've read most of her novels and all the ones there's like a detective series that I loved. Her Mockingbird series blew my mind. I thought it was so good. And just, she's so smart and she's so quick. And I wanted her to like me so badly. And I, just totally froze up. We did the live show with her at the wherever that was. And
Lucky
oh man.
Lab.
Yeah, that was my first live show, and with like my just, oh man, that was very intense.
No, you did great. I love that live show. That turned out really, really well.
I kept accidentally, because I'm constantly like putting my left knee under my butt, and I kept doing that and hitting her, and I was like, oh my god, I keep making physical contact with Chelsea Kane without consent or discussion prior. And oh my god, I was so
couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
it didn't shine through the audio. It was low in the
didn't
mix.
read.
Yeah, that was such a great episode. No, I can see that. I mean, I think you guys just got I think one of the last episodes that I listened to was the Steve Englehart one, which
my god, that was crazy.
Holy shit, that was so great.
and I'm so ignorant. I just so wildly ignorant that I didn't understand the breadth and width and depth of his contribution and knowledge. And just so like a couple days before, I was like, I'm on a professional podcast. I should like look this guy up a little bit more than just what I have like gleaned. I was like, oh, I can't talk to this man. Like this he's a legend. He's a literal like living legend of comic books.
Yeah, I loved that one because I mean you get so many good guests, but a lot of it is great, modern writers and artists, talking about these older books. But I know you guys had mentioned that was the first time that you actually spoke to a creator where you were going through one of his comics.
That was so trippy. I mean, it's like, and when you've got these long running things, it's like a conversation with the past and the future, right? So like you're picking up seeds or stepping on walkways or whatever the metaphor is, like of those who come before you, and you're doing the same thing for those that come after you. And so like he's basically almost first generation of doing all that stuff, like it was just wild. It was such a crazy experience. And it seems like there's more on the way.
Yeah, that's so cool. Who does your booking? Is that Rob?
That is Brian. He's the secret sauce.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of backroom favors that guy's doing, but I do not want to know.
Yeah.
I was particularly impressed with that Stephen Bissett one.
Oh my God, that was wild. That was
just
wild.
rolling up your sleeves and diving into he went deep.
He did. Yeah. I mean, and with people like that, like it's like, why am I talking? Like, no one needs to hear from me.
No, you put a nickel in him and he sit back and
yep, totally.
Yeah, and of course, we're patrons of the show, and so we got the bonus episode where he basically did like a half-hour deep dive into a Werewolf by Night comic. Literally panel by panel, almost more than what we do on a comic. And that was so fucking amazing. So to the Werewolf by Night character, like how familiar were you with the character? Like what stuff have you read or that you're into?
Oh, I mean, virtually nothing. Like I think when we first were chatting, I think he was involved with a Rain story from in like the later X Factor days.
Yes.
And I honestly think that might have been my first legitimate exposure outside of like some cheesy like one-off thing that didn't connect to anything and like forgotten probably in the 90s or early aughts or something. So that was like the first like real legitimate exposure. So the recent movie experience was really my first true exposure to the character, which was crazy because that has not happened to me yet with the MCU at all, or even close.
Yeah, because it was so cool. I mean, that's the thing. It really has been until the special. It's been such an obscure character, and that special has introduced him to everyone. So it's just we're so excited that more people have been looking at Jack and going back. Like it's great. Like we love it.
I mean, I can't believe you're not just sitting back and every episode isn't just like a half hour of looped "I told you so's." I mean, you guys have been were hitting the target way before anyone knew there was a target. I mean, that's
bonus content.
Yeah.
And as a lifelong coward and stuff, anything that was like remotely horror based, I like would have run away screaming from. So like I who would have thought that I ever would have like come to love it and appreciate it for all that it does.
So you're a scaredy cat when it comes to horror stuff?
Oh my God, I'm a scaredy cat about everything. I truly am the human cowardly lion.
Okay. So you told us that, you talked X-Men at a party and that's how you got attached to Rob.
Yep.
When did you start reading comics kind of in earnest, and what were your main things that juiced you?
Yeah. So I have like 3 little mini origin stories, and all of them are what so many people in our age group is like, one, you find the box in the closet that belonged to a parent, and you read them. And I can't remember if I've ever said this before, but my dad had a box of old, mostly DC, but 30% Marvel or something like that. And he had them bagged and boarded, and they were taped shut. And I was pretty young. So in taking every one of them out, the tape caught the back of all these comics from like the 60s and the 70s. Yeah. I tore probably thousands of dollars worth of.
Makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Oh my God. Even thinking about it now, I feel so bad. So that was like round one. He had a bunch of Fantastic Fours. He had some Spider-Mans. There was some Inhumans in there. I think that was probably about it for the Marvel stuff. And then there was some DC that I don't even remember anymore. And then really it started the like important me starting bit was 7-Eleven. Like 7-Eleven should be forever remembered for hooking millions of children on comic books.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't understand why exactly, or like it's just not a place where you would go that often. I don't think. Like, you know, they had Slurpees. Slurpees are awesome.
Where did you grow up?
Long Island.
Okay, so you had things to do. You were attached to a major metropolitan area.
Sure, fair. That's fair.
I'm from Coos Bay, Oregon, which is South Coast. There's nothing to do. And I went to 7-Eleven almost every single day. I would take cans back to get video game quarters, and then I would get a pink lemonade Slurpee and play Time Soldiers, and then I would buy the new Spider-Man and whatever.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind. I had no idea that 7-Eleven was like a youth staple like that.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't, my small town.
Yeah. For me, it was Plaid Pantry, which
okay. Mm-hmm.
Which I had one of those realizations to where, you know, my mind is so centrally focused. I'm just like, oh, Plaid Pantry, that exists all around the world, right? Like, and then I'm just like, oh, wait, no, that's just an Oregon thing. So yeah, that was for me, it was the spinner racket. Plaid, and I grew up in Gresham, not too far from where Rob grew up, and so so we went to the same comic store, and actually had mutual friends, but didn't meet until. When I came on to the show.
Oh man, it's so funny how like like you never want to say like, oh, all you folk know each other. You know, like that's almost never a good thing to say.
Yeah.
But with like local comic communities, it often is true. Really bizarre.
That is pretty funny.
So my first prior to the 7-Eleven days, I had gotten a two pack of comics for Christmas from a store called Caldor. That is like a department store it's like sort of esque. I guess Sears is also now crumbling. And it had 2 issues of Uncanny X-Men right around the time they were right prior to the Muir Island saga. No context, no information. I just read those 2 things. I read them over and over again until the paper was like cloth. I mean, the staples were loose. I couldn't get enough of them. And then I don't know how many years later, I was in a 7-Eleven and they had, I think it was the first issue of Executioner's Song. And that locked me in forever. I was just like, yep, this is what I'm doing with my life.
It's funny to me that so many people jump into an X-Men issue like that or New Mutants, an X book, and are so just thrown into the the rushing waters of the storyline, and they just embrace it, right? I mean, for me, I always found it daunting. So I never got into X books because I felt like there was so much history and so many characters. I felt completely overwhelmed. But the majority of people I talk to are like, that's what I liked about it. Like, I loved knowing that there's this big monolith of history and, all of these relationships and stuff like that to dive into. So
it's like pop culture anthropology. It's this like this quest to figure out like what is going on. Like, when did this start? Did it ever start? Was there a beginning, or has this always existed?
Yeah, for me, I was a huge X fan as a kid, and my first issue, which I think I've talked about on previous episodes, was the very first part of the Mutant Massacre.
Whoa, heavy
storyline. Yeah, it's very heavy, and also introduced a bunch of characters like Morlocks that I thought had been around forever. Nope, they were basically just created to be killed.
Yeah, and like, oh man, they're such an interesting thing. I mean, like the H.G. Wells thing, like even that they're a sub community. Like you've got this ostracized outsider community of mutants, and then there's like they could still punch down. Like they still found a whole group that was like somehow even less acceptable. It was just like a wild move. Yeah,
totally.
So had you had any experience with Marvel Comics Presents before this?
I don't think so. I mean, the only reason I think that maybe I had was because the title cards, the way the 4 you've got the title and the page, the like table of contents kind of page, the design of that, I was like, oh my God. Like I had like a wisp of a memory, but I couldn't tell you specifically what I'm remembering, which means
Yeah.
maybe it didn't happen.
I call those Atari seizures because the first time when I was in college, I went to
great.
Goodwill and bought an Atari and all the games they had and plugged it in. And the first time I put like Stampede in or something like that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Right. I remember.
yeah, it all comes rushing back. Just
Yeah. I feel like I had like a couple issues maybe in later Wolverine times. Like, did Wolverine take over this comic at some point? Or
yeah,
did it?
yeah, this was his book for
Ever.
Okay.
yeah, most of it.
Okay.
It was
And
supposed to be rotating X-Men having the A story, but they just kind of slotted into Hulk and Wolverine for quite a while.
I wonder, is there
And then Ghost Rider took it over towards the second half.
Man, I now that I'm open to like horror stuff, I need to check my attitude about like when people say things like Ghost Rider and not like be like, oh God, Ghost Rider, come on. It's like everyone thinks they're open-minded until they're presented with something that they don't automatically love, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt and I weren't super familiar with Marvel Comics Presents. I remember it being around. It just wasn't a title that I had read too much. And as the 90s progressed, that's kind of when I think I definitely, and Matt to a certain extent, jumped off completely from the big two. So yeah, this has been different for us to read Marvel Comics Presents, and also this is the first comic. Well, last episode and this issue, these are the first comics that we've read from the 90s, which we have previously said is lava. So we don't. So this is different for us. I'm glad you are very familiar with 90s comics, and so I'm glad you're here to guide us. Guide us through the lava.
This is like barely 90s, right? Like,
It is.
Oh, yeah.
this isn't
It's
like
not.
what the 90s tend to be known for. This is still like you're still getting the whiffs of the 80s, like still kind of permeating through.
Yeah, I feel like that's true of every decade. Like the thing that people associate a decade with actually has a hangover like the first few years into the following decade. You know, like you think the 70s, right? The early 70s were more hippie than disco-y, you know, whatever. Like it's just, it all kind of comes later, right?
Yeah.
So like this was still the 80s hangover, the first year or two of the 90s of comics. And then 93, 94, that's when it's chromium covers and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's like a journalistic convenience to be able to call it like, oh, it's this decade, and that is defined by pouches or holograms or, you know, whatever the thing is.
I do say that the 90s are lava, but I'm also very complex, so I also love the Clone Saga passionately.
Yeah,
So,
right on. I had a subscription to Spider-Man during that time.
So yeah, that actually got me back into comics. A friend telling me about the Clone Saga, and I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, right.
I started buying it and I couldn't stop, even though it's like, this should stop. This needs to stop. It's still going. But
yeah. I felt that about a lot of my 90s comic book reading is like this. I feel like I want this to be done, but it's not quite done. So I'm just a little bit longer. I'm just going to hang out just a little bit. I mean, I'm sure it's going to end any minute now. Like,
and two years later, it's still going on.
25 years later, I'm like still, it's just wild when you get hooked into, I keep saying wild. It's just like to get hooked into something that isn't going to end is a fascinating position to be in.
True.
Yep.
You know, like you get into a TV show, what do you have? 7 seasons? Like, but most, you know, like most things are done in between 3 and 5, like some are a 7. Occasionally you get like a Simpsons or the LA Law or I don't know. Most stuff just like concludes, and comics just don't.
no,
So it's like
they're like sharks.
Yeah,
They got to keep moving or they die.
like we have to choose when we're going to stop doing this, or we will do it forever. And it's like it's just a mind blowing idea.
Yeah, I heard the Fantastic Four stopped, but that's been like 10 times.
Right.
Before we dive into this, I would like to know. We kind of neglect to talk about this because we are more Bronze Age focused. But what are you into now? Like, what's being published today that like lights your fire?
Oh man, I think around. So I had quit comics sometime after I moved to Portland. I think that's like the second or third time in my life that I quit comics. And Books with Pictures opened on my commute to my office, and I was like, well, I guess I'm buying comics again. So that like kind of kicked the door down. And then the Jonathan Hickman's Avengers stuff, I just like jaw on the floor. I thought that was so amazing. It's one of my favorite things. And then when he switched over to the X-Men stuff in the past couple of years, it has been, God, I just feel like I'm ranting about everything I say, but like at the House of X, Powers of X thing it should be required reading. I cannot overstate how much I loved it.
I fully agree. Yeah, that absolutely blew my mind.
I don't want it to end.
Yeah, but it did. Like he's off the X books now. I think the last thing he did on there was Inferno, was the like 4-issue Inferno thing, and he's basically done. Like he's handed it off. I
just mean like the Krakoan era. Like,
oh yeah, Krakoan era in general. Yeah,
because like at some point they're gonna go back to the mansion, I assume, and I'm gonna like maybe stop reading comics again because I just
yeah. Like, I don't think they can do that because everyone will stop reading. Yeah. But there's still good stuff going on. Like Leah Williams is doing really incredible stuff. And yeah. So I mean, there's still some really good stuff going on X-book wise. Which
I read them all. Some of them I really enjoy. Some of them I'm kind of like, let's see where this goes. You know. Yeah. But yeah, those are the only paper comics that I'm reading these days.
Gotcha.
Are you mostly into like Marvel stuff? Like, do you have any indie imprints that you love or anything like that?
Anything Chelsea Kane does, I definitely buy. Kelly Sue stuff, I'll always pick up.
Wise.
I've been ranting about this Genies book. What's it called? 8 Billion Genies.
Oh, I heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just the premise like kicked over my brain, and it is being handled so well, and it's so cool. I've only read, I think there are only 4 or 5 issues out, and I've eventually pieced them all together now, so I have it.
Is that's Charles Soule, right?
Yeah, is that his name? Yeah. I have no idea.
Maybe.
I've never read any of his stuff.
Are you serious?
His Daredevil or anything? Yeah, I don't think I've read any Charlie Soule.
Nah, he's great.
He is great. I think I read a book or 2 of his.
Like a novel?
Yeah,
he has a couple of them out that I've heard are really good.
Yeah, that was good.
Is that where he came from? Was writing novels and got into comics, or?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Comics to books and still comics.
Okay.
I always like it when an author can do both things, because like they must have had. You just imagine them having this conversation of like, does this need to be a comic or does this need to be a novel? And like, how do I make that decision? I think that's like a fascinating idea.
I like that too. And I like how, like, I think sometimes like with Greg Rucka and like Queen and Country, where he's just kind of like, I can't have enough artists to keep up with me, so I need to be writing this side story while this other artist is doing this arc. Because I mean, he had a rotating cast of artists, so I think he was too prolific. Now he's really slow.
Huh. Yeah.
But
what are you guys reading these days?
I've been reading Lazarus by Rucka. Have you read that?
I've heard that's super good.
It's amazing.
Lazarus is great.
Jacob turned me on to Manifest Destiny, about Lewis and Clark doing their thing, but there's monsters everywhere. It's fucking amazing.
Fantastic.
That's one of my favorite modern comics from the last,
really?
It's
5 really
years.
up there in my top 5 of like the last 10 years. And then I'm loving this thing called Barbaric comes from Vault Comics. That's a kind of a comedy barbarian story about a shitty barbarian who's cursed to help people against his will when they need help. And he has a talking axe that drinks blood and gets drunk on blood.
Fantastic.
It's got that kind of Hellboy monster world, lots of that kind of humor and a lot of violence, and it's really a lot of cussing.
Yeah, I need to be a little bit less Marvel centric in the coming year. I gave myself kind of a novel challenge, like a book novel challenge for the tail end of this year. And so next year, I think I'm just I can downshift on novels and read like other publishers, because like I said, I'm just tremendously ignorant in all sorts of ways. Who knew?
Nice.
Who knew there were so many comics? Nobody told me.
My prose reading has gone on the toilet since we started the show. I have to be completely honest. I'm embarrassed, like how my wife reads a book a week.
Yep.
And I'm just picking up like, Kill Raven. I guess I'll read Deathlock this week.
Yeah,
I used to read Burroughs,
Right,
I used
exactly.
to read Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah, I hit a shame. I was like, all right, now I need to catch up this other side of me.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you were almost out, but then books, it's like a liquor store being on the way to work.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So close. Okay. I'm ready to dive into the second half of this story, Jacob.
Let's do it. So I'll do a little recap. At least I talked kind of at length about the creators and their bios last episode. So if you want to know about that, listen to that. But yeah, we have the same creative team for this issue. It's writer Len Kaminsky, penciler Jim Fry.
Dude, who's this Jim Fry guy? He's amazing.
Yeah, he is. So he worked mostly in the 90s. there's not a ton of bio about any of these guys. Like I'm a guy, I love to dig deep and go for these guys. Not a whole lot out there about any of them. James Fry, he has a nickname that he's Toon Guy. He's Jim Toon Guy Fry.
All right.
And he did a lot of comics for Marvel in the 90s and then just kind of moved on to film work after that and really didn't do any comics anymore at all. But we've been digging his art for the most part.
Yeah, the layouts are really cool and like jagged and fascinating. Like he's just doing a lot more than I was expecting, like, from a quarter of a comic book, We had talked that Jim Fry and Brad Joyce, who's the inker and letterer on this, they're definitely for reference for this story. We've isolated that they really went for the 2 Moon Knight issues that Bill Sienkiewicz drew that had Werewolf by Night in it, and so we really think that's their starting point. Like that was their blueprint, because a lot of it is influenced heavily by Doug Mensch and Bill Sienkiewicz's story. From yeah, okay. So if that's the flavor they caught, and that's the vibe they're trying to maintain, that makes sense.
Yeah, that way. I think we're pretty confident in that one.
That's insightful.
Yeah. So, opening page. So we open on the werewolf biker gang that we met at the end of last issue, and I'm just going to read the opening narration because it's kind of funny. This is Jack. So I was just glad, Jamie. The last couple episodes we've been going through Jack's appearances and West Coast Avengers and all these other like kind of 80s books where his appearances were very slight. Going through his Bronze Age stuff, we were very used to a first-person narration by Jack, where he would specify, first night this and this happened, and so yeah, it was kind of nice that we got back to that. So again, we're getting some first-person narration from Jack Russell. He says they called themselves the Brain Eaters. They were psycho savages, high octane 20th century nomads. Oh yeah, they were also werewolves. She called herself Layla. She rode herd over this pack of urban predators, and me, I was just along for the ride. So
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the narration, Matt was much more forgiving than I was last issue. Matt kind of leaned into the silliness of it, and it just kind of bothered me at certain points. I felt like it undercut the art a little bit, and it does to a certain extent this issue. I felt like it was a little more even, actually, the narration, the writing, and the art on this. But yeah, we've kind of had very similar layouts for each one of these stories, where the opening page is kind of just 4 or 5 horizontal panels, and this one is the same. We see this biker gang come out. We see Layla, Jack's on the back of her bike, and at the bottom we get the title. Most of these titles have been puns, which we're not super fans of, but this one is Leader of the Pack.
There was
there was the Shangri-La song, yeah.
Ursula K. Le Guin, I don't know how you say it. In the other one, it was the moon is a harsh mistress.
That's an Ursula K. Le Guin story.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's about like as all her stuff is, it's like a allegory or metaphor. But there's like a whole bunch of class issues, something sci-fi, but. And
me just read comics now.
Oh my god, yeah. Rob is rolling in his grave right now. I'm
talking about me. I can't.
But aren't werewolves traditionally like they're like a lower class problem, right? Like it's like a folk thing often, right? I have that impression. So I was wondering if they were doing something with the Ursula thing and that, but I don't know enough about. That's like one of my uneducated opinions. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Yeah. I can kind of see that.
Because like vampires are a rich person problem, right? Like vampires are generally very wealthy, but I feel like werewolves are often pretty poor.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you see, well, at least they've been associated with Roma and different different kind of traveling peoples. So yeah, maybe.
Oh, like Romani. I thought you meant like the founding of Rome.
Yeah, I went there first too. I think it's more Greek, actually.
No, and and you're right. Like there's always like they're like huntsmen or something like that in the Black Forest of Germany, like in fairy tales.
Thank you. Yes,
interesting.
exactly.
I never really thought about that before. You just earned a return guest spot.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that this is visually kind of funny just because, Jack is riding on the back, which is, an emasculating position or whatever in macho culture. But that third panel where like her flowing mane of red hair is like just completely drowning him out. And all I can see is the top of his scalp. And he pokes his head out from the side like he's Ernest P. Worrell.
Totally.
Hey, Vern.
Yeah, I had big gendered thoughts on this, on this first page, just because I was thinking about like moon cycles are traditionally that's like a female thing. I mean, historically, right? Like, or biologically. Yeah. And that a werewolf is like such a moon driven thing. I was like, I just had been thinking along those lines. And then to see literally the first page of this book is like, he's behind this woman who's like obviously in charge of the situation.
Yes.
So there's something there.
And embracing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the next page, we get a nice little spread that we're going to break up here between me and Jacob, but there's this, it says, so this bunch of biker werewolves goes into a drive-in movie, see? So he's always said this corny joke, and he's like, okay, you're right, it's not funny. But we get this long panorama on the top 2/3 of this 2-page spread that is the biker gang in baby blues and white and black, just like partying. I mean, they're absolutely, it's like Lost Boys times a dozen. Yeah. And they're dancing and just, yelling, doing all this stuff. And on the screen in the background, we see, what's the name of that actress that plays the Romanian, the Wolfman?
Olga.
Her last name.
Yeah, I forget her last name.
But she's saying her famous line, even a man whose heart is pure and says his prayers at night, that famous thing that's in almost every damn werewolf thing. And so he says, I doubt the normal members of the audience were very amused at all, Anyway, there we were. And so, this is bring your family to the drive-in to see an old classic werewolf movie, and a bunch of asshole biker Hell's Angels types come in and start raising hell. Yeah, it's scary. It's like everything that you thought that puberty would be, or that you your parents seem to indicate that puberty might be. Yeah, just this hellscape of the indulgence.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this werewolf gang, these will be called the children of Jack, and they totally embrace the darker bestial side, and especially Layla. So on the bottom panels on this 2-page spread, it's we kind of see that Layla that Jack is really under Layla's spell, and the narration is like, Layla was the alpha dominant personality of the pack. I was no more immune than any of the others, couldn't help be consumed by her charisma, obey her, worship her. And so he's kind of in her spell, but then breaks free of it, and it's just no, this isn't me. I'm not like the rest of you. I'm a man, not a beast. And then Layla kind of laughs, and she's like, that's what they all say. So I mean, Layla's kind of a great character. I love that she is the alpha in this, which is really cool. Yeah. And that last word balloon on this page is the stinger, where Jack has a realization, the epiphany of that he is the source of this strain. She says, really, Dad, of all people, you ought to know better. Yeah. So on the next page, you see him completely dumbstruck like a deer in headlights as this all dawns on him, like, I've been spreading lycanthropy. And she says, after all, you're the one who made us what we are. These are your children. Aren't you proud of them? And there's this nice 4-panel spread in the middle row that's just black background with this kind of tableau of different scenes going on of him attacking. But she's saying, or don't you remember? It was 2 years ago in Los Angeles. We were human then one night. Under the full moon, we challenged your territory. You ripped through us like a hot knife. And this, I take issue with this editorial here. This is Werewolf by Night number 6. That was not when that happened. That was Marvel Spotlight on Werewolf by Night number 3. That was his second adventure, when it starts off with the biker gang following Alyssa home and then breaking into the house, and Chains was there and blah, blah, blah.
Was that when they break through the glass?
You guys just went through this.
Yeah, you should have just gone through that.
Yeah. So Matt, I mean, yes, obviously they're wrong, because Werewolf by Night 6 is the Carnival of Fear issue. So they're not correct at all. It absolutely is Marvel Spotlight 3. But Also, so you do think that this was that biker gang with Chains and Benny and Little Man and like all of those guys. So you do think that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was a thought that it could be. He goes in that bar like on the docks, and he gets in a fight with some dudes. It's not that. It's the only biker gang he fought outside of the Monsters Unleashed story that we dramatized into a radio play.
Yeah, Monsters Unleashed 6 and 7, he fought against bikers, but those were Baldy Kingston and Boxer. And so Layla actually wasn't mentioned in any of these biker stories. It was mainly just these men. And if we're going with Marvel Spotlight 3, the only thing that I was just like, I don't know, is that she says like we challenged your territory, which I guess would make sense if they're jumping through the Russell family home.
Yeah.
So I guess I guess that would be challenging territory.
It's the only thing that makes any sense.
It's the only thing that makes any sense, but it still doesn't quite fit. So but yeah, we'll move on.
Yeah. So either way, there's a lot of peeing happening. Everyone's peeing everywhere.
There's a lot of peeing. So she says, he's remembering all this stuff and cast in red and just like reds and pinks. Remembering, that's right. I do remember the Beast tearing through a bunch of bikers in my fucking house. And I was tripping out that this is 2 years ago. So that was 1971.
Oh, whoa.
And
if that's what we're going for.
1990. Yeah. So every 10 years is a year in Marvel, essentially, by this reckoning.
Plus, that's a deep pull to like a fairly obscure moment in comic books too.
Well, and they get it totally wrong. Like the editor stuff is 100% wrong.
All right. I won't applaud them too much.
Mansplaining it to us wrong. So she's saying, so spare me your hypocrisy. And he's like, swell, lycanthropy, the gift that keeps on giving. And so he's clutching his fists and sweating, saying, "Oh my God!" So yeah, he just had a Peter Parker, Uncle Ben flashback moment of, "Oh my God, I'm responsible for something terrible."
Yeah, plus some incest horror, it seems.
Yeah. Right. Well, I know. Now, I kept thinking like, do wolves interbreed like intergenerationally? I'm sure they do.
Probably, but then, Jamie, so we had mentioned this last episode, and that this is something, at least for Jack, like it hasn't, lycanthropy in Werewolf by Night has not been like a virus that you can give to someone else.
I wanted to talk about that. Okay, cool.
It's not at all. This is completely the first time that this has been brought up. So this is completely changing the entire mythos, because Jack Russell and his lycanthropy is curse based. So it's a family. Well, like you guys have gone through the very first appearances of him, and so yeah, it's a curse thing. It's not a I scratch or bite someone and now they're a werewolf, which is totally what it is in film. Like that absolutely is what it is in film for the most part.
Right. Otherwise you have furry out of control vampires or even zombies, like, and which is interesting that she refers to them as like the brain eaters.
Yes, that's the name of their gang.
And like, to me, in the terror hierarchy, zombies are at the top. I think that's like the scariest because it spreads thoughtlessly, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe vampires is like the next step down because it's like controlled and intentional. And then like werewolves seem kind of okay, like because it doesn't spread. If you have one in a village and everyone knows, like, oh, full moon, lock your doors. Like it's like it seems like a surmountable problem.
Yeah. Definitely.
But not this. This is like going in a different direction. And I was like, ooh, that's like more scary and blurs the lines a little bit.
I agree with your hierarchy.
Yeah, I think your hierarchy is correct as well. But yeah, so this is totally new territory for us and Jack Russell. This new form of lycanthropy in the Marvel universe. So yeah, the next page, I do like. So Jack is feeling like a real square around these wild bikers. Like you were saying, I couldn't accept what I was, especially if it meant being like them, and yet. And then, Layla jumps on top of a car, starts like sexy dancing.
Yeah.
Jack is just like, I couldn't figure it all out, but then it all became clear to me later. And so that panel of Layla dancing, I don't know, there was something, maybe it's just like that she has kind of like a silly putty face almost, that kind of I didn't like that panel. There was something about it that I was just like
I think the silly putty face it's not exactly a progressive page of art.
Nope. No, it is not.
But my hope, or so I think that werewolfism can be a metaphor for like puberty stuff, the fear of giving into your carnal nature or whatever. And so like if he's struggling to fit into this like hedonistic space, or like is getting sucked into it and then is pulling back and just like can't get comfortable in this space because they're like a wilder breed. I thought that was like a way to look at this that is, I don't know how intentional it is, but that felt like a charitable reading of what is otherwise like a little uncomfortably quote unquote sexy page.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of goes through that, and the rest of the panel below that. So this biker werewolf gang, they're just raging, they're just having this really, really crazy party. And Jack in the narration is like, this is why Silver Dagger had come after me. Somehow he had known of the connection between me and these children of mine. He's like, I guess the details weren't hard to dig up. It's not like I've got a secret identity or something. and then we switch focus, and now we see that Silver Dagger, Isaiah Kerwin, is watching all this go down through binoculars, and then he gets on a walkie-talkie. He's like, Kerwin to sword. The guy on the other end is like, we copy, sir. He's like, prepare to mobilize. So he's the psychopathic wet blanket that's going to ruin all of their fun.
Which like we should be rooting for him. Like these are monsters doing monster stuff and being non-Christian citizens or whatever. Like it's cool to be on the other side of the like we're with the bad guys, and that. I don't think it happens too often at this point in comics.
He's like chastity belt like level.
Yeah, the problem is he sucks.
No, and that's what I don't know. I think that's cool, and one of the cool things of this story, I think, is the werewolf bikers are insane and hedonistic, but it's basically the moral of the story is religious zealotry is the true monster.
Right. So too far the other way, I guess.
Yeah, and we're fine with that.
And I just have to provide a counterpoint here. When she's dancing on the roof of the car, I don't think that we should biker slut shame. I think that she's embracing her own sexuality and doing her own thing. So I'm only half joking that, like, if she wants to do this with her body and herself, that's what she gets to do. But
she's in charge. She is in charge.
Silly. Yeah, she has agency, but she does look like silly putty stretched over someone's knee.
Yep, that was really my only problem. I like Layla as a character. I think she's fucking cool. But that depiction of her, I thought was not great.
I find powerful women sexy.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And the art on this page was really all over the place for me. The stuff that I respond to that they're doing was here and not here at all. And that final panel of Isaiah Kerwin, it just looks like a Mark Bagley napkin where he ran into in a bar. Like, could you please draw me my dad? Here's a photo of him. He's like, all right, kid, Jesus Christ. Pay my tab. I got this. There you go.
Wow, nailed it. That's great.
So the next page, we get kind of an unusual layout. It is 18 panels of horizontal I-beams panels. And I think this is meant to kind of probably represent postmodern, post-MTV film editing to kind of give you this, rapid fire imagery here that Jack sings. So he's in the drive-in, and then we see him, and then we see the gang kissing each other. We see a guy with a fishing hat in his car, like an older guy going, oh, like Rod Steiger, horrified at all this revelry. And then we see the werewolf on the big screen. Layla's, writhing around. He's saying they wallowed in it. Talk about peer pressure, because he wants to join in, right? He watches with horrified fascination at their primal abandon. It keeps cutting between him sweating profusely while they're making out and grinding and dry humping in front of the screen. And then Layla just starts changing. Fur starts popping out, and we see the moon coming up. And he says, I ached to leap in, to tear my clothes. And we more of this scattershot editing, and then to free myself from convention, feel the hot, thrilling rush of the beast. But I couldn't. And then we see Layla is fully transformed. The moon is fully above the mountains. And Jack says, I thought I was being so fine and noble, but now I realize I was just repressed. I read this page several times, both times I read this, and I have some issues with this. I have some issues with, I understand they're setting up the brain eaters are accepting your nature, but taking it to an obscene, perverse level of whatever, amorality, immorality. And the Isaiah Kerwin and the sword represent the exact opposite of that. But I don't know. The repression thing, like maybe I was just like having a satanic panic, repressed memory, like trauma or something. But it's just like, I don't know if I like the way they're retconning this character right here.
Yeah, because he's suffering. He really is suffering, being pulled between these two poles, and it's not. It doesn't feel like he's landing in a comfortable middle of like, oh, sometimes I'll make out with strangers, and sometimes I won't. It's cool, whatever.
Well, I guess but really, every one of Jack's appearances up to this point, he is kind of a goody-goody. He's kind of a sheltered Boy Scout in a lot of ways. I mean, he's had girlfriends, and he did live in that swinging singles pad, Colden House, but yeah, I mean, so I guess it's kind of an extension of the character, but yeah, also Matt, I had the same thing. I was just like, I don't know. I just thought also the storytelling on this page was a little off. I have no problem with tons of little panels if it's done correctly, and I think it can be done correctly. I just don't think it is on this page.
This isn't The Dark Knight Returns.
No, it is. Yeah, that's what I thought of when I saw it.
Exactly. I was like, no, this can work. It's been proven to work before, but no, does not here. So yeah, next page, the moon has risen. Bikers are starting to change, and Jack is changing as well. And yeah, he's thinking. And then as the moon stepped in, made all of my agonizing moot, I looked up straight at the shocking climax of this part of the story, and so yeah, now we realize that this biker gang, the Brain Eaters, they start pulling people out of their cars and eating their brains. So I mean, I guess the name makes a lot more sense now.
It's not ironic.
Yeah, it's not ironic at all. But then we get a nice so Jack is obviously transforming as well. And we get a kind of a cool, I mean, I don't know. At first I didn't like it, but I kind of like the third night panel. I mean, I think we're biased. So anytime that Jack says first or second or third night, we're going to love it just because of our connection to the Bronze Age issues. But yeah, that panel, the narration reads, it was the third night and the werewolf knew what I had missed. He could see that these creatures were evil, that they used their bestial aspects as excuses for uniquely human sins. He says, animals don't kill for pleasure. They don't torture or revel in slaughter. These are human traits, and he didn't want any part of them. So this makes a little more sense because it's Jack, reacting to, the actual, killing and torturing, and he's not down with that. It's not making him look like kind of a prude. Like the other pages were. So this I like a lot more.
But this isn't even Jack, right? I mean, at this point, he is the beast, and the beast still has the same morality as well. Like, this is even against natural law. This is not.
Because animals wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the two metaphors are kind of like bumping into each other a little bit, where you've got like the like sexual awakening puberty werewolf metaphor, and then on the other side of it, this is what happens when civilization, like when humanity gets too far away from their natural state. You get situations like this. So he's the first one. He's like the puberty metaphor, and they're the like civilization problem metaphor. Maybe, I don't know. I'm new to werewolves.
You're doing the work here.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
You're doing some of the philosophical heavy lifting, and we appreciate it.
I mean, no one's wearing tights, so I'm in way over my head.
I honestly, Jacob, I love that panel when it says third night, and I love the one that follows that when he's leaping into the pack of werewolves who are devouring these poor innocent townies. I like the art, and I like also just that the fact that he's saying, like, uniquely human sins and animals. I mean, that whole kind of laying down this morality thing, I felt like that kind of grounded me a little more, because the repression thing was just, I don't know, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know why.
No, it did me too. And this was the first page of this issue where I was like, oh, okay, I'm totally down with this. Like the narration was good, the art was really solid, and yeah, it made more sense. So no, I think this is when this part of the story really gets going.
Yeah, I guess this kind of like cements your thesis that like he's a justice wolf, right? Like he's a justice wolf man, And here it is, and before it was like, well, what's going, like, where's this going? Like, who are you going to be? And now we know, and he can go and be heroic in wolf form.
But this kind of undercuts what comes later in this story, because in his original run, I mean, he was literally a ravening monster.
This is not that.
Barely got held back from mauling his sister. There's a moment where he's growling in her face and panting at her, and he kind of managed to pull himself back and backed off through some dim recollection of connection to her. But like this kind of, like you're saying, Justice Wolf this is not really where he is when he's wild. He has had his intellect come and go, depending on who's writing it and what they want to do at the time. But at this point right now, he is just wild and unfettered. I mean, he just fought the Hulk with no memory of it out in the desert like 2 episodes ago. So he shouldn't be doing this. I like that the natural order thing comes up and kind of directs his action, but it doesn't quite really follow that much.
Yeah, I buy that. Yeah, that seems like a bit of betrayal is putting it a little strongly. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
So this cigarette butt comes flying out from one of the werewolves and lands in a puddle of leaking gas from under a vehicle. And it's sitting there kind of fuming. And then we get this panel on the next page that I had a really hard time parsing. It's red and black. Yeah. And he's saying that the pack has turned on me. Now that I've jumped on them, they've all turned on me. And so it's meant to be a bunch of the werewolf pack tearing at Jack as a beast, but I can't tell what the hell. I see dreadlocks, a beret.
I know.
Like it's just a fucking mess.
I felt like maybe if the colorist chose to not go like more like kind of monochromatic, just red and blacks, it would have made a lot more sense. I think probably the pencils and inks made more sense, but this was a poor coloring choice.
I was wondering if it's the conclusion of the like sort of orgiastic energy from the earlier. I don't think I've ever said that word out loud before. Is that how you say that word?
Yes.
Orgiastic?
Yes. Sounds great.
Awesome. It's kind of the conclusion of that spirit earlier on, where that was like a little bit more or a lot more sexual. And this is like the violent version of that, but it's still like kind of the climax and then you get a literal explosion like a panel later.
Yeah, this is where Slash starts playing a screaming guitar solo.
That's right.
So
crossing the train tracks. Yeah.
So they're all blood coming, or whatever you want to call that.
Yes.
Okay. No, you convinced me.
That's a phrase for the books.
It's better than blood fart. Okay. So that finally that puddle of gas takes off, and Jack says, let's just say that sparks flew as they're all being thrown away by a kaboom explosion. And Jack's hurt. He's been wounded. He was attacked by like 10 werewolves raking at him. So he's an outcast among his own kind, and he goes loping off like a coward with his tail literally or figuratively between his legs. I don't think he has a tail. And this last panel on the bottom has Layla in her wolf form, clenching a fist, looking at him going, traitor, he'll pay for this, as a bunch of wolves in the background just are in silhouette with just white eyes, slitted white eyes looking after Jack. So he has a whole bunch of enemies he just made.
And she's got the cool wrist spike bracelets, like one on each. Like she's super, super rock and roll.
Yeah, I totally thought Brain Eaters was like some Misfits reference or something like that. Some kind of, Danzig Misfits kind of song title or something like that. It's like, they're literally eating brains.
Munching them up.
Yeah, so that's the end of that issue. Then we go on to the B story in issue 58. We've reached chapter 5, which is entitled Communion, and again we get that really familiar opening layout that we've gotten for most of these chapters, with the 4 horizontal panels. The narration, because it's third night. I'm going to read it. The third night, the wind, hot and grating, blew over a desolate landscape. Overhead, lightning split the darkness, tantalizing the parched earth below with the tease of rain. On the desert floor, a growing stream of a different type of liquid flowed sluggishly, doing little to slake the soil's thirst. A long time ago, someone named this wasteland Death Valley. All things considered, I guess the werewolf had come to the right place. And I'm not a fan of the art on this page at all. I think it's probably the worst. I don't know. It seems so unfinished, and it seems like penciler, inker, colorist, like no one is on the same page on any of these panels, in my opinion. I think they're working against each other, and it hurts the storytelling. This could have been an awesome opening page, and it is not, in my opinion. I
didn't see the wolf in the bottom panel for quite a bit. Like,
right?
if you block the face in the bottom right, it just looks like
blood.
Like blood. Yeah. I mean, maybe that was on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, Jacob, I kind of had the same reaction, not for the same reasons, but I felt like I don't know. I mean, we see the valley, then we see a trail of blood, and then we see the trail of blood gets thicker and more, bloody, and then we see the end of the trail where the werewolf is collapsed. It seems like such a simple Eisnerian kind of thing to do, but it did not work at all. Like I just made a disappointed great aunt face.
Yeah.
When I saw well, I don't like that at all.
I do.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not like any other art that we've seen in any of these issues too. Like it seems rushed and unfinished.
I do like the contrast color-wise with the next page. And I'm wondering if I guess they wouldn't have been side by side, right? Because the first page would be on the right. And so the second page would be the back. Yeah, that doesn't work. I tried Werewolf by Night.
I'm not sure actually how the page layout would have been. They might have been side by side, but I get what you're saying.
Story.
It just
and and like the lightning strikes would account for what you're talking about on the next page, which is cool. I love when people play with lightning and those kind of strobe effects on changing a setting.
Definitely.
I guess also I was just kind of like narratively, it was just like, didn't we just do this? Didn't he just get mauled by Silver Dagger and get saved by the Brain Eater? So this is kind of like, it's literally hours later. Like, we didn't explain. I don't need to have it explained how they healed him so fast after being saved from Silver Dagger, but he just was at death's door like hours ago.
Yeah, you've got this is Hulk syndrome.
Yeah.
Or each issue he starts awake or asleep or wounded, and where am I this time?
Yeah. So on the next page, we see some lightning in this storm out in the desert. He'd been attacked by maniacs with silver weapons, chased across half of California, and had the stuffing kicked out of him by a bunch of other werewolves. When it rains, it pours, and he's curled up in a little pathetic ball on the desert floor, just like mommy, and he's panting, and he finds a little cave, and he goes in there, and he's bleeding to death. It's very clear this is a mortal wound for him. So what does he do? He follows his instinct, the one that told him to find the nearest hole, crawl in, and go to sleep, just like a dog would do. A wounded dog goes into a little, shrub of brush and curls up and licks its wounds. And so he curls up in a ball, and his heartbeat is going on the bottom of these panels, thup, 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 thup. And it's pretty clear, he says, I would die out here if I fell asleep. And he was a good dog. He did what his instincts told him to. So much for instincts. And the panel's like pulling back away, like the camera, as he's getting smaller and smaller, and his heartbeat stops.
Yeah, I liked the coloring on this issue. I think you're right. I think it's using the lightning and the flashes to add the color to the panels, and I like that. I thought that was a good choice.
Yeah, so he's all like in baby blue and like white mostly when this is happening, because like you're saying, like the lightning strike's happening. So that's cool. Yeah, this page turned me around on the art. Yeah, same. I don't envy your page here.
Oh, there's just wow. So there is
my notes for this page say whoa.
Yeah, there's just
what do you say? It's just a whoa.
Yeah, this page gets really, really trippy since Jack is dying, and I guess he takes a journey to the center of his mind. And the middle narration is like, I found myself floating in warm, enveloping darkness, my spirit somehow freed from my ruined body. I swam through the void into a field of shimmering lights that danced and whispered my name. So I don't even know how to describe this panel. I mean, so much is going on. So it's obviously like Jack kind of in spirit form, just falling and falling. There's a lot of parts of this that I did really like. I felt like it's way too busy, number one. Like, I feel like a lot of the art is really cool looking, but this page also uses every single color that's available, which also is a little confusing. It has a lot laid out. I like the layout though. I mean, I think this page works for the most part, but it's basically just Jack is in this acid trip mind craziness that is happening because he's dying, and he's journeying inside to his mind to meet his beast self that has been chained in there.
Yeah. The like astral plane feeling of it, it definitely is like Xavier fighting the Shadow King kind of feeling. I do think it is very cool how you got the top half and the bottom half are sort of split into almost like incidental or accidental panels by the white coming off of the hole that he goes through.
That's
so
awesome.
He's like going through like a black hole, and it's surrounded by like a white starburst, and that starburst breaks the two frames.
Yeah,
I felt made it. At first, I didn't like it because it would have been nice if it was just like one giant psychedelic splash page. But like having that separation really kind of gives it, you'd love to be two-tone in a way that I thought was nice.
Totally agree.
This to me looked like, I mean, if you haven't seen this one, folks, it's like Ditko and Kirby dropped acid together and made out on ecstasy, and with a little bit of Plug in there, just thrown in there.
There's some Plug in there.
Not listening to good acid music. Like
no.
Yeah,
no,
they're on the wrong music.
No, they're listening to Benny Goodman or something.
Yeah, totally.
It's
Ray Conniff singers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this has like every type of Kirby or Ditko like trick of like cosmic stuff, like weird cells and bursting things, and Kirby Crackle and Ditko. I mean, just Plug Plasma, all that stuff is happening as his astral form is descending and going through that hole, as you mentioned. Yeah, it's a wild page, man. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Are you done with that one?
I don't know what else to say.
Okay. I was just kind of staring at it.
It's almost too much.
Yeah, I mean, I like when he dives through that hole, and it's a demarcation between light and shadow. So he is on this journey from Jack's headspace into a shared space in their soul or whatever. And so he dives down, and there's like, some violence, some red, some blood, a silver dagger, a big giant screaming and disembodied face. So it gets really fucking weird.
Yeah. I hope that they argued about whether or not to have that dagger in there. Yeah. I'm not sure that it's a bad idea. It might be a great idea, especially because Silver Dagger is like the guy or whatever. But like,
it doesn't really work though.
There was a photo stat, one with and one without, and they were like waiting till right before they had to go to the printer. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Someone was like, fine, we can keep it.
So the next page, we get a continuation of the spiritual journey. A big stabbing, kind of like an exclamation point. It's blue and white, and it has Jack's fearful face in it saying, "And I wasn't alone." And he's looking to the side, and we see his beast self chained up, and he says, "This is where I had him kept locked up all these years." And it's this giant, pathetic, scratchy kind of Sienkiewicz wolf thing, just with tons of chains around his neck saying, "Hurt flesh, pain, all dark, pain, dark." So it's just in constant panic mode. It hadn't occurred to me before to think about how I kept him prisoner down here in the infinite darkness, chained and miserable. And the point of that exclamation point is a close-up of Jack's eye in blue and white as well. And the beast continues, "Pain, dark, afraid." And so Jack's realizing, I kept him locked up in this prison for 27 days out of the month. That's awful. And he says, I could feel myself thinning, dissolving as the final darkness closed in on us. We would both die here. I knew what I had to do. And so he's kind of like, he's made of white. He's in his astral form, and he's kind of starting to dissolve like mist. And it's time for something important to happen. Yeah.
In one of the earlier issues, like as I'm not a native werewolf fan, like I'm new to this space. It always seems to me like a very solvable problem, right? Like it's not even like a migraine headache that you can't predict. It's like this happens like in a very regimented way, and like you can take precautions and probably deal with it. So I always assumed that was like a fault in these comics, that like he didn't do that. But in the other ones, they have the Howling Room. And I was like, yeah, the Howling Room, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
He's like, I know this happened, so I chained myself up. And I was like, yeah, that makes this great. Yeah. And then like jump forward, I don't know how many issues, 3 or 4 issues. And like, you see the repercussions of actions like that. Like, this is like, I don't know, which is the literal and which is the metaphor in this. I guess this would be the metaphor. But like, it was just the flip side and the consequence of actions like that. And I was like, oh, this is I thought this was great. I really liked it, and it made me like all of it even more.
Yeah, we have a drinking game that we really employed on the first season.
For sure.
So when Jack doesn't realize he's going to turn into a werewolf, that was definitely a drink. But you know, I've mellowed over the last 2 years on Jack's. You know, he was 18. You know, in my mind, it's like you're saying, like it's like there are moon calendars. You can know when this is going to happen, but it's like yeah, there's also condoms. There's a lot of unplanned pregnancies and a lot of STDs.
Yeah, so right.
We always just want him to be his best Jack, but we can't expect him to always be his best Jack.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, for the story and conflict to exist, it does kind of have to happen.
It'd be a pretty dull series.
It'd be a dull series.
Rich kid watches TV and then locks himself up in a cage.
Right.
The end. Yeah. So the next page, I thought this was kind of a weird choice. So Jack he's just the Silver Surfer.
Yep.
Very much so.
He's just this really weird kind of like the anatomy is strange and kind of I mean, I get that he's in some kind of, you know, astral nether world, but yeah, it's really, really, really strange. And so he hurls the ball containing his consciousness at the chains that are imprisoning his wolf self. And yeah, and so it smashes these chains, and then Jack is thinking, narration, now it was up to him to see the way to survival. Would he understand what I was now offering? Would he comprehend what it would mean for both of us? And he just says, he did. And so the wolf is free. And then he says, his spirit devoured mine, engulfing it while I penetrated his from within, where before we had been like the sundered halves of an atom split by fission, incomplete and decaying. Now we achieved fusion. So yeah, I kind of liked the last 4 panels. Like the upper part of this page just made me laugh immediately. I was just like, oh, this is goofy as shit. Like just the way that Jack looks. But you know, the 4 bottom panels I thought were pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. The sexual description is like very bizarre and fascinating.
It's very bizarre.
And the art reminds me of like Warlock, like Jim Starlin era Warlock-y stuff.
For sure.
It like the page pulled it out of the fire, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then I was like, oh, stuck the landing. Nice.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, that top 2/3 is definitely something.
Yeah.
As he's hurling, I mean, it's very stylized and very expressive and cartoony as he's chucking dying embers of his consciousness to break up the chains on the wolf's neck. Yeah. And I just heard Journey Separate Ways playing in my head. Like, this is like a heavy metal sequence or something like that, you know, from the movie Heavy Metal. Yeah, then that bottom row, like, I'm with you, man. It gets really fucking cool when he decides to go in and fuse. And I love the analogy of fission versus fusion. That was fucking cool.
It was
very
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So on the next page, we get probably my favorite page here art-wise. There's this huge portrait of the new beast that has risen like a phoenix from whatever he was in his death throes. And then once Jack accepted his self and they integrated their 2 halves into a whole, he has been healed. He rises up, his eyes are glowing red. And this is like my favorite, outside of Sienkiewicz, this is like my favorite season 3 werewolf, I think. I really like the one in this Doctor Strange issue that was more of a Plug homage kind of throwback. But this one, as far as like being that whatever the howling version is of a werewolf, is my favorite. So he's hopped up and he is ready to go in the pissing rain. And it says, it's no secret that fusion produces far more power than fission. And so he's back from the brink of death and he's alive again and he's ready to go. And he's getting, for the first time since his 18th birthday, the full benefit of this relationship with the beast. He's experiencing the full range of the senses. So he's realizing, you know, I could kick myself. I should have done this from the get-go. Instead of fighting the beast, I should have integrated with it and accepted my nature, but I didn't. And so he's loping off and he realizes, I saw those enemies I made. And he hears the roar of some motorcycle engines and we see a big dust cloud and them coming towards him. And he says, I let them come. I was tired of running. And we did this last panel I really like, which is from the perspective like below his legs, where his 2 claws are down, just like he's hunched over, just ready. And you're seeing both of his claws at this canted angle as the bikers are just roaring towards him in this cloud of dust. That's a fucking badass panel.
Yeah, yeah. Totally unsafe to put the camera there. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, really very cool.
No, you're right, Matt. The art on this page is excellent, and the depiction of the beast is great. It was like it takes what Sienkiewicz did and just adds more hair to it, which was really our only that was our only kind of beef with Sienkiewicz's werewolf, is that it looked more
like a leotard.
It did. It looked more like a leotard, more like Lissa's were-demon from the original run than anything else. And I think this is and that's cool. And maybe this is more of a this is illustrating that bond, that fusion that's happened now. And I love it. I thought this page was really badass.
Yeah, this is the birth of Justice Wolf right here.
That's
right. This is the moment. Seminal. Yeah.
TM.
Call me Marvel.
So yeah, on the next page, I mean, here comes the biker gang. So yeah, they approach kind of a weird biker on the top left. That first panel, it looks a little more simian than werewolf, but yeah, and like you had talked about before, Matt, this gang, to describe them, I mean, their garb is the most 90s thing about this story. It's all you know, chokers and cuffs and spiked shoulder pads and epaulets and yeah, so they kind of look goofy as shit. But yeah, Layla comes in, she's like, "Why, you could have been one of us. You and I, we could have been." And then I kind of love that it's a weird panel in the middle right there, but that's kind of, you know,
the split
cut. Yeah, it's like a split cut into just like two triangles. And it's Jack saying, "No, I do not kill." And that's just his eyes. And then the other one is just his mouth saying, or that's Layla saying, "It is the way of the beast. You are either predator or prey." And she jumps at him. And so, yeah, they start fighting. And he says, "The beast kills only to survive. Your way, killing for pleasure, is the way of man." And then, and Jack actually kind of gets in a pretty lethal blow, it looks like, and just kind of rakes her midsection, saying, "This is the way of man." So yeah, this is there's a lot of I don't know. I liked the action on this page. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's like he's just been reborn with his new mission and like philosophy, and it's like the morality of it is immediately put to the test. Like within seconds, he's like, "Oh, all right, I guess I got to kill you. That's fine."
Yeah.
I dug the biker guys as well, Jacob. I felt myself kind of kicking myself, like I wish I'd read ahead and scheduled the Werewolves on Wheels as our movie for the week, because
right, I know we haven't brought that up. I don't know why we haven't, but I'm sure that was I mean, there's so many pop culture references. This thing is overstuffed with pop culture references, and so I'm sure there's a reference point for Werewolves on Wheels, which I did like how much Steve Englehart talked about that. And and in the episode, he also referenced like 2 or 3 other like werewolf biker movies. And I was just like, where the fuck? I've never heard of any of these.
Right. Like it was like he was talking about Ghostbusters. Like it was the most common...
like, well, of course you know this. And
so yeah, on the next page, he continues, "My fury drove me toward her throat with deadly intent." So he's going to take them off the page. He's done. He says, "You pervert the gift with your human passions. I should," and she says, as he's clutching her head with his giant claw, she says, "So you are one of us after all." And his claw raises up and he says, "Was I?" And then there's a bunch of gunfire. Suddenly the question became moot. Is that 2 times this has come up in one moot? We don't hear moot that much in issues. Suddenly the question became moot, lost in a hail of silver bullets. And they're all getting torn up. And we see this nice panel in the middle of all these stupid dork biker freak werewolves growling as they look towards this. And we get this big, nice panel at the end. Isaiah Kerwin has arrived, Silver Dagger, with his sword, and says, "We had company." And he says, "Sinners, prepare to die at the hands of Silver Dagger and his sword, the Lord." And sure enough, behind him, there's a whole bunch of people with crosses on their tunics and machine guns.
Yeah.
And like
big Liefeld machine guns.
Yeah, that's never a comfortable spot to be in. If you see people wearing crosses that big, of that size, with also guns, you're not safe. That's not a safe environment.
Yeah.
No, that's never worked out well historically.
Nope.
I like the guy at the bottom right with glasses. Like he looks like he'd be played by Stephen Root. Well, she's kind of like
he does.
He's the accountant, but they gave him a gun to make him feel good.
Right, to make him feel part
I
of the
don't
group.
even get his gun. Does it have holy water in it? And there's like a tank at the bottom of it. Anyway,
It's a super soaker with
is,
holy
yeah,
water.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I
hey,
think
pump it
I
like
was
20
just drinking
times.
whiskey, dude. Come on. I almost sprayed that all over my computer.
so. All right, we're in the final chapter
Thrilling
now.
conclusion.
Yeah, thrilling conclusion, and it's called "Reborn to Be Wild." I groaned. Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And okay, so this opening page at least mixes it up. It's different than the previous ones, as it's a full page illustration of the biker gang seen through the crosshairs of a gun. And there's not a lot of narration on it either. Like this page, the narration is just third night continued. This is how the story ends. It's not a pretty sight. So yeah, it's a couple puns on this page, very pun heavy, and yeah, I like it. And so yeah, these werewolves are jumping towards this site. They are drooling. They are eye patched. They are it looks okay. I wasn't as blown away by this opening page.
I liked the idea of the round scope in connection to the round moon above, like right above. It's like the two sides are coming together, circle versus circle kind of.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I can dig that.
Graphic echo. I like that too. I do like that werewolf with the eye patch. That's very kind of plebeian. I like how there's like different subspecies, like ethnic groups of these werewolves. Like, you're clearly a Moorish werewolf, whereas you're clearly a Central American werewolf. Like,
it's it's something.
It is. Wow, it gets so like 90s on this next page.
Yep.
So the sword has arrived, and they're saying, "Kill them, praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition." And they're shooting these giant guns. Kill the sinners. Gerhard, cover me. It's just all this horseshit. So it's just absolute mayhem between the werewolves and the sword. It was a massacre, Jack thinks, in a slaughterhouse with no rhyme or reason. Just a chaos of panels, little tiny panels, bigger panels, blood splatter, slashes, fangs with more blood, more muzzle flash. No. Oh, spit. I love that in 1990 they were still using "oh spit" as a analog for "oh shit."
Yeah.
That seems like a little, I don't know. It's just it felt like a convenient thing in the 80s or whatever, and then it's like, come on, we don't need to say shit, but say something else, not spit.
Yeah, right.
It's a werewolf getting shot by a silver bullet, yelling "oh spit."
Yeah, right. That's just silly. Like, that's not the good silly.
So the final panel, we have one of the swords boot in the foreground, and there's a dead werewolf with his eyes open and glazed, and a dead sword member also behind him dead. And it says chick, chick, chick. I'm not sure what that chicking was, but
I assumed it was someone cocking a gun. Like,
that's what I thought too.
Oh, I thought it was like someone dry firing, like they were out of a rounds and they were just firing. But no, that makes more sense, I think. Unless it was just an orgy of firing and they're like not even aware that like no more rounds left. I'm just dry firing. But
it might be given the layout of the page. I mean, none of these boxes are the same size. Like they're all different proportions, and it's like visual. I think it's like pretty well done visual chaos for the time.
Yeah, it is. But you're right. It is such a product of its time. I mean, this is when they're leaning into the 90s aesthetic that's going to totally dominate Marvel forever. And yeah, I get what he was doing. I get what the artists are doing in demonstrating chaos by having a panel layout be chaos. And that's cool. And I think it sounds really good when you're pitching it in a room, but the execution of it, you're just like, oh yeah, no, that's just a really ugly page. Yeah, and I get it, but it's just, I don't know, the layout was too distracting for me.
Violence is ugly though.
Hey, I get it, man. I totally get it.
No, I'm with you. It's aesthetically not very interesting, but it does do what it's trying to do. Like, said.
I wonder if you stripped away the onomatopoeia sound effects everywhere, like if that would make the difference, just because like it would declutter it so much and like all that.
That's a good point.
Wait, even the ox and the hergs and the ergs and the ugs,
the brackabrackas. You need the brackabrackas. Come on.
All right, so you keep the brackabrackas, but the rest.
I think we have a deal here.
All right, we made it.
What do we have to do to put you two on a violent page of comics today?
Today.
So yeah, on the next page, well, at this point, I just started calling the Kerwin's gang the Reavers.
Yeah,
Because they just kind of
they
they basically are the Reavers, and so yeah, one of the Reavers gets the drop on Layla. Is like, time to die, demon spawn, and then yeah, she basically dies in like a hail of silver bullets, and Jack witnesses this and then just totally kills the guy, right? Like he just eviscerates this guy, and then is standing over Layla's dead body, kind of howling. And I did like I liked the weirdness, the kind of stylized
ink splatter.
I liked that, and I also liked Jack kind of over Layla's body. I thought that was cool. It was different.
Mendoza-ing.
Yeah, he's definitely Mendoza.
Mendoza. Wow, nice
in,
reference.
In McBain speak. And
So Jacob, in that panel before that big Mendoza moment, is he cutting that dude's forearm off? So his forearm and the gun are going flying because his claws are so sharp he just severed the arm from the body?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
That's kind of badass.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. Like, I like that.
And that's an artery, right? I mean, that guy's going to bleed out in a few minutes.
No, that guy's done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I like that page. And I like that when that guy calls out Layla and there's that McFarlane-y kind of silhouette with the white eyes of hers going, turning around. That's cool.
That was cool.
I couldn't put my finger on what I thought that was, and it reminded me of that silhouette, and I was thinking like Carnage, Scream, like in 90s era, and that might have been McFarlane. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So Jack is Matt, or the Beast. What do we need a new name for him being integrated?
Oh, you mean Justice Wolf?
Justice Wolf, Fusion Wolf.
Sorry, I didn't get that memo from corporate. Right.
It's coming.
Justice Wolf. It's like, dagger. And we see Isaiah Kerwin say, "So, Russell, it is you. If you repent your sins, I shall kill you quickly." And the werewolf says, "Don't hold your breath." And this sequence I really liked here. This is a great way to end this for me. He says, like all men, Dagger thought his gun made him omnipotent. And with this beautiful close-up of the werewolf's eyes, like extreme close-up that is gorgeously detailed and colored. Yeah. And then we get this little triptych of panels where the Beast has this dude's number. He's thinking, he didn't grasp the fact that my senses were about 1,000,000 times keener than his. Every twitch of an eyelid. And we get this close-up of Silver Dagger, like, he's like sweating and just panicky. The scrape of leather gloves against oiled gunmetal. We get a close-up of his hand holding the trigger. So, like, he has, like, psychically, psychotically minute detail awareness. The tang of adrenaline-loaded blood seeping from his wounds spoke volumes. So this guy has, he has his number. And he says, I knew when he was going to shoot before he did. In this last panel, Isaiah Kerwin screams and starts firing, but obviously the werewolf was prepared for this as he says, "Then die!" And bada, 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 bada.
Yeah. Him knowing that what he was going to do well in advance, like that whole tier of abilities hadn't occurred to me until this moment. And I was wondering if he had always had that ability or if that's the result of the fusion. Like, because now he can kind of consciously process what was the other one was like unconsciously doing.
The Beast had like essentially like wolf level scent and hearing and stuff like that. But it seems like this is a first true fusion of Jack's intellect where he can actually read this and say, that smell, that's adrenaline in his blood, he's going to shoot a second. Like, it all makes sense in a human level.
Yeah, he can do the math on like the intentionality.
Perfect. Yeah.
Cool.
Jacob, is that how you read that too? Like it's
totally how I read it. Yeah. No,
he's
you're
Neo
absolutely
now.
Right. He's Neo now. Oh, Matt, you were right though. That close up of his of the werewolf's eyes is just fucking rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And that bottom panel of Kerwin, this is when, so Marvel Comics Presents was bi-weekly. So not a ton of time has passed between issue 54 and this final issue. It's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
But stylistically, it's like we started with Twin Peaks the pilot, and now we are like right at the end of season 2. Like you can tell what's going to come. It's like it's not the 80s anymore. And yeah, Kerwin down there just firing his gun. I was just like, okay, here we are. We've arrived. Yeah. We're here.
Yeah, the inking just gives the light off the gun on his face. It's so intense.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. So 90s. So the next page, Jack kind of lunges towards Dagger, saying, "It's over, Dagger. The madness ends here." Dagger's like, "No, you will be expunged." And then we get another totally unnecessary reference when Jack says, "What we have here is a failure to communicate. I said it's over." And so we get a Cool Hand Luke reference for some reason.
Do you think was that meaningful? Or do you think, or was that just like a sound cool moment?
No, that was a sound cool moment.
Yeah, okay. and he's the writer has done that many times in these issues. He's just like packed it full of pop culture references in a way that is just, it's so dorky.
Kind of like next time he should have called collect. Like
Did I do that?
Yeah, it's like put as many fucking idiotic like references from 1990 in there.
Because I tried, because
obviously,
like Cool Hand Luke. The concern was like that he was going to turn rabbit, right? Like that was what the mirror glasses was like. So if Cool Hand Luke is a rabbit, and they reproduce rapidly, and their sexuality, therefore, with werewolves, I was like, nope, I get this is nothing. I have nothing.
Nope, it's just stupid.
No, I think it's just, at this time, Cool Hand Luke was considered the coolest movie, most manly movie ever made, the sweatiest movie ever made. And
I guess so.
Right.
Just needing to reference that.
Yeah. What homoerotic subtext.
And then it peaks with the Guns N' Roses sample from from Civil War. So,
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, so at the last panel, we have Kerwin with his silver dagger. Just leaping towards Jack, saying "Never." And at the bottom it says, "Some people just don't learn." So yeah, this page was pretty corny. The depiction of the werewolf in the second panel, again, it's like suddenly it's the 90s, and and that's probably my least favorite depiction of Jack in all these issues.
It's something. I did like that in the first panel of this page, though. Continuing his like heightened Neo state of like he might as well have been moving in slow motion for all the good it did him. I do kind of like when he gets that Speed Force kind of like level of like I'm 8 steps ahead of you between my human intellect and my animal instincts. So like there was it was a done deal.
You get the sense that this fight will go on for as long as he allows it to go on.
Exactly.
And like when it's time to end it, like okay, we've had enough of this now.
Yeah, and last episode, Jacob and I kind of talked about the Jack's little rant towards religion and intolerance, but we get a nice little button on that here as he picks up Silver Dagger by the throat and says, "I'm sick of your hatred and intolerance. Anything you don't understand, you fear." And he's just crushing his throat. And what you fear, you destroy. Well, let's see how you like it. And there's another close-up on his eyes. And then we get a close-up of Kerwin's eyes, which are panicked and sweating and white and livid. He's like, "No." And then Jack says, "Yes." And he bites into his forearm, spraying blood everywhere. He says, what Dagger didn't know was that the power was now under my control. So he's saying like the lycanthropy thing, I can control whether or not I gift this to people. I would no longer pass it on unless I wished to, and he didn't deserve it. As Kerwin's screaming, "Ah!" because he's been impurified by
sullied,
lycanthropy. And he says, not that I was going to let him in on that little secret. Let him figure it out for himself. So he just drops him to the ground in the desert. Just this old senior citizen. He just took a giant chunk out of his arm. Yeah. And was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
So what did you think about that narration, that change now that he has fused, that now he can control who he turns and who he doesn't?
I think it's stupid, but I thought introducing the bite and scratch was stupid.
Well, it feels like to me that it was like a cover-up job on what they accidentally did 2 issues ago. Where it's like, oh, he's been making little werewolf babies all around town, and now we don't have to worry about that going forward, at least. So
going forward, yeah.
Yeah, it is like they're setting him up for a new franchise, and we know that that's going to involve mullets and mirrored shades, and so that's you have to. I mean, it's required. So yeah, that's definitely coming up.
But good point there, Jamie. I mean, I made a note just saying like we should, I should go back and look at everything from Marvel Spotlight 3 on and count how many fucking people would be a werewolf now if this was actually the case. Because it would be an entire county of LA that that he scratched or bit and that lived. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are more rules at play. Like maybe it's only the first night, or maybe maybe it's only when he's super angry or spittle, or I don't know. Maybe
but
you could.
I guess, but that would lead us to who would lead this county of werewolves would be Werewolf Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's Buck Cowan would definitely be the
his
leader.
Best bud Buck Cowan was mauled by him and barely survived.
Was in a wheelchair forever. Yeah.
I thought that the sort of monologue about fear and hatred and you destroy what you, that seemed more Frankenstein-y. Like that's the moral of a lot of Frankenstein stuff, right? Is like people like I may be overstating, but like the idea that like the monster isn't actually a bad guy, he just looks different, and if everyone left him alone, he would be fine.
Have you read the book Frankenstein?
It's been a while, but
yeah, I've read it a few times. I always walk away with that, with the moral being, I didn't ask to be born, Dad.
Right,
that's true.
More what it's about than anything else.
Right. Yeah, I feel like what Jack is talking about, just because the Silver Dagger, because Isaiah Kerwin's character is so like zealously religious. I feel like this is Jack kind of continuing what he did a couple issues ago, which is talking basically about religious intolerance, the intolerance that zealots feel for anyone that doesn't share their beliefs.
Yeah, which got me hard because I love any of that shit.
We love that shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, I imagine most of the kids at the time reading this probably resonated pretty strongly with that kind of messaging.
Yeah, I mean, where are we now? Like Tipper Gore? Well, that was a few years before, right? Like I'm trying to think of like the moral panic of rap music.
This is PMRC, okay. Right? I mean, they're still stickering stuff.
Yeah,
it's past 2 Live Crew, but those stickers are still going on. Yeah. So next page. So Kerwin's on the ground, kind of grabbing his wound, saying like, no, the blood taint, too deep to be cut away. God have mercy. And I love that panel where I don't like how Kerwin looks, but the werewolf looks fucking badass. He's like, mercy dagger, look around. And then, we kind of pull back and see all the carnage, all the dead bodies. And he's like, this is your God's work, madness and death. Your God has no mercy. And I loved it up until this point, except the next panel, the werewolf, he's like, think about it.
That's when the girl on.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? You just undercut your super badass scene. This idiotic I don't know. I thought it was just fucking stupid.
What is that green stuff coming out of Silver Dagger as he screams, God have mercy?
Right? That's a weird choice.
That is a weird choice.
I didn't understand that.
Out like Exorcist?
He is.
And I love that he has like no teeth. He just has gums. Like he was like a symbiote more than a man.
He does.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that drawing of Kerwin just doesn't make any sense stylistically, story wise. Like it's really distracting. But I love the werewolf kind of in shadow almost. Like I thought that was fucking awesome. But
his upset at being tainted has turned him into a non-human form.
That's right.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes,
a metamorphosis of his own. If you
his indignation.
Yeah.
I do like that technique of that inking in the background with those striations with those little blots where it doesn't
cool.
touch it. I think that's neat.
Yeah, it's really neat.
But it's neat because it doesn't. It's not like I'm not I don't like manga-y like with the crazy lines in the back like the Matrix Revolutions fight. Like it's not like that because there's no implied motion here. Like this is a pretty static scene.
Right.
I mean the Justice Wolf he's really planted.
Yeah.
This other guy's just like on the ground. So it doesn't imply motion, which something like that usually does.
It kind of reads to me as the storm that happened earlier is blowing away, and that's kind of like a sky mad with stars that's just kind of starting to present itself. Like,
Oh,
the storm
yeah.
has passed.
Oh, I like that,
that.
especially with the next panel where it's like everyone's dead and it's like that Gettysburg shot, but it's like really still.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Then for the bottom three panels, a narration reads, "There was nothing left for me to do there. I hit the road. I don't know what became a dagger after that, but I have my suspicions." And so what we see in those panels is obviously two of his reavers come up and see that he has been bitten and say, "Unclean." And then they point their guns at his head and he's like, "My lord, why hast thou forsaken me?" And so it seems like that they put him out of his misery, but he does show up again like a year later.
No, really?
Yep. He's in Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme 32.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, again, there's a lot of undercutting in these stories. Really cool things, and then it just kind of gets ruined. But
yeah, if he had been killed here, I would have thought that was a rad end to this character.
Yeah,
it's
it's a
kind of
great
introduced
end.
in the mid-70s in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like the idea that this guy's like a excommunicated Vatican, heretic who was too violent and weird for the Catholic Church, which is fucking a lot. And then like the idea that he's killed by his own perversion.
So it was pretty late at night by the time I had gotten to this, and I misinterpreted it, but it might be a punch up. So I thought that they stand over him and say unclean, and then I thought those were his hands, like not. I thought that was like Dagger's hands. So like,
he's turning a gun on himself.
Yeah, I can see that
because he's so tainted that suicide is like a less bad sin than what he would be transformed into.
Nope. No, God will forgive lycanthropy. He would not forgive suicide. I was raised Catholic.
That's straight to hell right there. Yeah.
But definitely those two sword members, the same guns they have are pointing at him in the next panel. So it's definitely his people.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
All right, you guys ready for this to end?
Oof.
Here we go. What was that Lorenzo Lamas show in the 90s where
Renegade.
This is like predating that by a year or so. So we get this wrap-up panel, or page here. It says, "So that's my story. If there's any moral to it, it's this. We are all children of the beast. Savagery is our heritage. Blood and madness are birthright. But that doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't change." And he's tearing off through these fall trees, leafless trees, on a motorcycle because fucking 90s. "I've changed in ways beyond the cosmetic, although I do kind of like my new look." What does that mean? I read this like 3 times. Like, what is he?
Well, because he has he has a mullet now. He's fully 90s. Like, this is really a transition into his crappy 90s appearances.
Okay, so this
He
is
looks
where
totally different.
This is a perfect jumping off point then for him at large.
For
like,
us.
Yeah. I mean, we have those Doctor Strange ones, but yeah, this Jack. Like, people ask why we don't go in the 90s beyond like 90s being lava. Like, just this Jack was like, he literally, it's like he got in a car wreck, had brain damage, and came back. And it's like, he's not the same guy I knew. He's not. Like, no, I love him and everything. I care about him, but he's not the same person. Something was damaged in his brainstem. So this is not Jack anymore.
Right.
So he looks back at us over his shoulder with his new mullet and his winning smile and says, "I'm something unique and wonderful. My ears prick up at the sound of the rustling breezes. I catch the sweet, dark scent of the forest primeval, and I get goosebumps. I've only begun to learn my new potential, but I'm working on it, and I have a mission. Somewhere out there are others like I used to be.
Oh, God.
People whose lives have been touched by the paranormal, terrified of what they've become, persecuted by a paranoid society. And maybe there are even more of my children out there. I mean to find them and help them if I can." He's looking at a thing from a paper that says, "Man beast in Colorado, more cattle found mutilated." And then he picks up a duster jacket because it's the 90s. You have to have a long duster, trench coat. But that's for the future. And this last panel is him in his wolf form, naked on a cliff precipice, howling at the moon. And it says, "For tonight, all I need is a forest that has never known man, and a night to run free with the moon. First night." The end. For now.
You're hired.
Matt.
You're hired. That was a great line read.
Oh yeah, we got a drink when he wants the forest.
Yeah, we drink to the forest.
Okay.
Wow, what a terrible last page.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pitch perfect for what it is.
Yes.
For doing this, I mean, you were able to read it and you read it exactly right. Like, like it's not a subjective thing. They like objectively, that is how this should sound. And like
this is the opening credits for his TV show.
Yeah, it is. It's like a pilot. Like
it's a reboot.
Right. Yeah, it's a reboot.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
This part of it is. I mean, this whole they it's so loaded, right? Like now I'm a free agent. I'm just going to ride around the country and find people that need my help or people that I've cursed and fix their situation. Like it's God.
Yeah.
I hate it already.
That
and
Jason Lee
I've talked to people who are like, their experience with the characters, like, no, it starts in the 90s. Like, I knew him when like Midnight Suns happened and blah, blah. It's like, dude, that's not Jack Russell. Like, that's literally a scroll or something. Like, it's not the dude that I grew up reading.
So is he kind of like fine after this? Like, can he? Maybe this is wrong. I thought that like werewolf is like uncontrollable changing when the moon happens, and like the Lycan version is like you can control it. Is he now? Can he toggle?
Well, what's happened in the 80s, what the kind of change that they did starting in the 80s is that, or starting in the late 70s, really, is that when the moon is not full, he can change at will and can control it and, you know, can quip and be silly and stuff. But then it's the 3 nights of the full moon. He can't control that. So that's why he needs a howling room. That's why he needs to chain himself up. Or in the Incredible Hulk issues we talked about, he goes out to the desert, just goes where he's not going to hurt anyone. But now I guess, you know, this new version of Fuse Jack, he's fucking Fox Mulder that's just going to go around and be a werewolf and solve paranormal crimes.
Yeah, so he's fine now. So there's no
he's fine now.
There's no inherent conflict with his situation moving
not
forward.
anymore.
I'd say 70% Renegade, 30% Fox Mulder.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. This is much more Lamas than anything else.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you've read of like Morbius and stuff like that in the 90s, Jamie, but like
no, almost, unless it was in Spider-Man, pretty much nothing.
So, yeah, so he had a book that started in like 92 that ran for like 2 years, I think. But Jack shows up in it and he's got a ponytail, mirrored sunglasses, he chain smokes, he's got his bike, he fucks Martine,
leather jacket,
leather jacket, like it's pathetic. Like I bought these issues to bind them into library binds just to have like a collection, and I don't even want to put them in there. Like it's just gross.
Oh man, I feel like I read something. The way you're describing that, I definitely read something with him in it, and I probably didn't know it was him or something.
Yeah, well, the Midnight Sun stuff was pretty popular in the 90s. We know that actually, you know, a lot of people read that, and like Matt's saying, it's a lot of people's first encounter with Jack Russell was Midnight Suns era, which is. You know, I know we're biased. I mean, if you're 10 years old and that's your first Jack.
I don't think it's subjective. I think objectively people kind of realize Midnight Suns wasn't really good. Like that Darkhold book and the whatever, like it was not good.
It's a great name is the problem.
It's a good name.
It's
a great idea. Let's get Blade and Ghost Rider. I mean, yeah, it's a great idea. It blew.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't even think, people that grew up reading comics in the 90s, you're right, Matt. I don't think anyone is really, maybe, I mean, I'm sure there are Midnight Suns apologists out there, maybe even some that listen to this show. So, write us an email at werewolfbynightpodcast@gmail and yell at us. We love it.
Or call us. Because we have
the line. Oh, I was going to call the line.
971-220-5865. 971-220-JUNK. And let us know, are we wrong? Because I bought like the first 2 issues of every Midnight Suns title, and I couldn't tell what was going on, and it just seemed like a mess to me. So yeah, and you know, Jamie, like when you were saying like when I said Ghost Rider, and you're like I had a negative reaction or whatever, like just immediately off the bat from that, like if I first was introduced to Ghost Rider in the 90s, I would too. I hate the 90s version, like. The 70s fun version, like Stunt Bike Rider version, is totally fun and goofy, but like by the 90s when it's Ketch and whatever, like it just gets weird to me.
Yeah,
it's around a
like,
lot.
self-serious and for bad kids. That's the kind of the line that anything that seemed like it was for bad kids, I was like, oh, I can't even look at it.
You are precious.
Bad.
Oh my God, I'm putting you on speed dial for the show.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're just doing final thoughts now, really. Yeah. I mean, I think we've been pretty open about. Yeah, I mean, mixed bag for me. But honestly, like now that we finished all 5 chapters of this, 6 chapters of this, I didn't hate it as much as I thought. There were actually things that I did like. I thought the art for the most part was the strongest part of this whole story. The writing I had a lot of problems with, but yeah, I liked it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah. I came in super skeptical. And I was very impressed with the like levity. Not the jokes. I was not impressed with the jokes, but like the tone was a lot more playful than what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in this kind of territory, I think that helps a lot to like kind of offer your audience a little bit of grain of salt where it's like, yeah, we're having fun with this too. And you can, like, if you don't love all of it, that's fine. It seems like there's really rich themes in here if you like want to go digging for them. And I wasn't expecting that. And I'm no Douglas Woke. So like, I thought like, I don't have those skills, but I feel like a professional thinker about this stuff could probably like have a field day of digging interesting PhD ideas out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The art was great. I think maybe it's actually like very uneven.
It's very uneven, but the good parts are really good.
The good parts are good enough that it sticks, and that's what you remember when you're, taking a shower 4 hours later or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, that was pretty cool.
For me, I really preferred the first half of the story that you and I talked about last week, Jacob.
Yeah.
All the stuff with the occult bookstore and Jack trying to reach his father, and like it was much darker and more portentous.
Mm-hmm.
This one was more kind of like the setup is done, and now we have to play out all the stuff we set up. And just like in a cheap comedy or a cheap horror movie, it just kind of felt like, okay, just go through the motions and do something. Which is weird because I'm also kind of yada-ing the fusion of the two halves of Jack's nature, which it shouldn't be yada-yada, but I don't know. I guess if the end result is him growing a mullet and wearing mirrored sunglasses, like why do I care?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I get it. I get
it. I mean, and it, no pun intended, it defangs the character completely.
Yeah.
Like I said before, there's no conflict now. Like it's not a Hulk situation. He just can have super skills when he wants super skills, and when he doesn't, he takes a nap, and that's fine.
Yeah. Our friend Michael Giacchino, who directed the special,
oh my God,
said,
I
think
man.
famously in a phone call last episode, I think werewolves should be dangerous.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a mission statement. Once you start having wisecracking, talking, thinking werewolves, they're not werewolves anymore. They're wolf men, and it's a other thing, I don't know. So it was hit and miss for me. I agree with you. The art was totally spotty. There were times I thought it was freaking gorgeous and was waxing poetic about it, moaning, rolling around the floor. And there's other times where I'm like, ew, God.
Yep.
Here come the 90s.
Yep.
I mean, and I don't know, maybe some of that was the time. Like, I don't know how what the deadlines were like. And at this point, maybe they could only do a good thing every couple pages or whatever.
So this was 48 pages over 2 months was how it was released, right, Jacob?
That's right.
So yeah, it's bi-weekly. Oh wait, am I?
No, it'd be over 4 months. Oh no,
it's even longer. It's like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they ordered those and how they had them delivered as far as like editorial goes, but I don't get the impression it was rushed.
No.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel like this was a very intentional look and feel to this book, and I think some of it was just them reaching back to Sienkiewicz and Plug and doing some cool stuff. And I think some of them was feeling the bleeding edge and reaching out towards the future, and that's the stuff I probably didn't like as much because I'm old and crusty and grumpy. So
yeah, but this is a real, I mean, if you want, I can't think of a better example of the transition to the 90s than this story. Like,
it happens during the story.
It happens halfway through the story.
Puberty.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right, Matt. The first part was all occult and cool shit, and then once the end, once the werewolf biker gang shows up, then it's welcome to the 90s. So So for that,
you've got fun and games.
Yeah, so this is an interesting artifact, and I'm glad we got to go through it. And Jamie, I'm glad you were here for this as well.
I feel like I lucked out, and I got a huge chunk of history here.
This is a part of the show where we give shout outs to our pack members, folks like Ryan from Across the Bifrost,
Tim Tucker,
Brian from Marvel by the Month,
Blake, last name withheld,
Caleb,
Ben M,
Michelle from Moonlit Comics,
Rob Haferman,
Russ from Tomes of Evil,
Brad Michael Elmore,
Tony Ayupi,
Jared C,
Brink,
Bill from Long Island,
David D,
and MJ.
Thank you for your support. We also want to shout out our Star God level people who support us at the $10 level. Folks like Michael Giacchino,
Josh Link,
Jackson T. Overstreet,
Mark Nivens,
and Eric Hadley. Thank you. You make the show awesome. All right, Jacob. So we have the bonus show this week. Our patrons can check that out. It's a weekly show we do. This week we're talking about another Wolf Cop. And you hipped me to some new music.
That's right. You and I, we love weird, outsider, obscure shit, and this might be the most obscure thing I've ever heard, and one of the strangest outsider type projects I had ever heard. I started listening to a podcast that was about a strange community of people that lived on boathouses in the Mississippi from the 70s to today. And it was a weird outsider community that my Aunt Trudy was actually part of. And we're going to be talking about a found cassette of a woman who lived on this place, on these boathouses, who wrote songs all about aliens and cattle mutilations, and very weird, kind of throwback to the 80s and 90s, and it's fucking awesome. So I can't wait to talk about that.
Right on. So if you want to join us there, you can go to patreon.com/werewolfbynightpodcast. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week.
So Jamie, thanks again for being here with us, for coming on the show, for talking about these issues. It's been a blast. So why don't you let people know where they can find you in Marvel by the Month?
Yeah, I'm over at marvelbythemonth.com. We're going through the history of Marvel Comics 1 month at a time. So we read a month's worth of comics historically, and we just kind of step through it all and have ourselves a good old time. As we talked about earlier, our guests are astronomically amazing. We're incredibly lucky, and come check it out. Available everywhere you get your podcast from, all your various podcatcher things.
And I am biased, but as a supporter of the show, but I would recommend people go to Patreon to support you guys, because you get the full unedited versions of the conversations. So it's a lot more content.
It is a lot
for very
more
little
content.
Money.
Yeah, we don't stop talking. Yeah,
I love you guys. I love your show, man.
Oh, thank you so much. I love yours too. Yeah,
it's excellent.
Jacob has got me under your sway now, so I was free. You. I felt like I was out of the mafia. I wasn't doing the comics podcast anymore, and then he kept talking about you guys, and now I'm fucking listening.
Yeah. Brian sang your praises, and I was a convert too.
Well, right on. Hopefully we can have you again.
Oh yeah. Say the word anytime.
Do you like Son of Satan? Do you like do you like weird 70s monster comics?
Hey, that's for bad kids. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I love that bad kids thing. That's literally a highlight of this conversation for me. That felt like that was for bad kids.
Anytime you guys want to invite me to the bad kids table, I'll try it out.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, total pleasure. Thank you.
Till we meet again at the full moon, furry ones, here's how and action.